Hello, welcome back to Addicted to Recovery, the podcast bringing you the truth about addiction. My name's Christopher White. I am joined, as ever, by my dear friend, co-host, and fellow recovering addict, Max Thomas. How are you today, mate?
I'm really good, mate. Yeah, I'm really good. Yeah.
Nice. Been a little bit better weather today.
Yeah, it's just bleak. I've given up, to be honest.
Such a gloomy summer.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Me and my missus have spoken about genuinely, potentially even moving somewhere hot.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Or just having like 6 weeks in the holidays, like maybe just going to France. I can work remotely.
Yeah, I can't work remotely.
You can't rely on...
No.
You can't, especially with 2 kids at home, like when it's raining in the summer. It's just...
It's sore. It's absolutely sore. Like, I'm working on the building site at the minute, so like the road's not paved. It's just mud. Yeah.
Right.
So the first couple of days it was like dust everywhere. Then it rained for 2 days. Yeah. Now it's like mud. So I swept out the whole house. I hate mess, right? Swept out the whole house. 2 minutes later, muddy boots been traipsing up the stairs. It's toast again. It's like soul destroying, mate.
That's the thing. Like when it's sunny, everyone's happy. When it's rainy, everyone's just fed up.
Yeah,
fed up.
Definitely. Have you heard what? So James here, I do my other podcast with. You heard what he says about it?
No, go on.
So he feels like when it's cloudy, you're like trapped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
you're like
true.
trapped under the clouds. When there's no clouds, you can see the blue sky. You're free.
Yeah, I love that.
I relate to that.
Yeah.
I definitely do. It's just like automatically my mood is affected by the weather.
It affects everything.
Yeah.
When I walk out my front door in the morning, if it's sunny, naturally in a better mood, walking the dog. Like,
Of course, you walk your dog every morning.
I have to get full waterproofs on.
Yeah.
Like in July. it's like
It's too much.
It caught me the other day when it was like we had showers. And I went out in my shorts and t-shirt and I literally like showered and looking all right for work and that because I walked the dog before work and literally dripping wet, as in like, do you know when you've just been caught out?
Yeah.
I got to the front door.
Soaked.
My wife opened the front door, just like started laughing. It was just...
Does Buzz love it? The dog love it?
Oh, mate, I just had to take him to the vet yesterday and even the people in the vets were laughing at him because he's like a huge German shepherd.
Yeah.
He had to go in for his booster. They had to reduce the size of the needle because apparently he looked at the first needle and nearly fainted.
The dog looked at it.
Yeah. It's laughable, like, and he knows when
He's
comes out.
riddled with anxiety.
But he knows when he comes out that he's been a bit of a baby about it.
Yeah.
He's like embarrassed. You've got like
Really?
cats in. I love going in the vets because you've got like loads of different animals in there. And it's funny, I feel like they're all laughing at each other when one comes out. Do you know what I mean?
Like they know you've not been brave.
And he hates cats. And there was like, they bring the cats in their boxes. And I saw this cat in a box. It was one of those cats without fur on it. So it just looked...
Yeah, like Dr. Evil's cat, Mr. Bigglesworth.
It looked evil.
Yeah.
And when Buzz came out, it was like sniggering. It was funny. And he's like, fucking
He's so funny. I remember you said before that he's just like his owner. Like he's just a big ball of anxiety sometimes.
He is. And he's just a attention seeker like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's definitely an attention seeker.
I can pop out to the car, so I've forgot my keys in the car. I'll pop out to the car, which is literally across the road. I'll come back in, and he welcomes me like I've been away for 2 weeks on holiday. That's the beauty about it. Of
course.
Cats don't really give a fuck, do they? They go next door and get fed.
No. But at the same time, have you ever been around an affectionate cat?
I've not. My missus is...
It's really nice.
Cat.
It's really nice. Like if anything, I'm a dog person. We always had dogs.
Yeah.
My whole life I've had a dog. We had Carla, the Doberman. Then we had Jessie. She was a boxer. Yeah. And then we had George. He was a geezer. He was a boxer. We couldn't get another boxer after we had George. He was just too much of a chap. And then my mum got a Labradoodle. Like, had to go for something completely different because she was sweet as well, Dolly. So when my missus was pregnant with Theo, my oldest, whenever we would come in the house, Dolly would just sit right next to her.
Yeah, they know.
And just be like, I don't know if she was being protective or she was just like staying close. Literally, as soon as the baby was born, she stopped doing it.
Yeah.
She was so protective.
They're lovely. I love them.
Dogs?
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, me too.
I love seeing them. Each one's got different characters and they're wicked. They're just always happy, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's, I saw something cool online. It said like, because I think dog years is 7 years compared to humans.
That's right, yeah.
And it's something along the lines of like, I don't know, going out for a walk is the most important part of their day.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind their days are like our weeks.
Oh, yeah, of course they are.
Such an important moment every single day. And
And if they miss one, it's like they've not been out of the house for 2 weeks.
And getting walked by an angry addict sometimes cannot be quite nice in the mornings.
Of course not.
So I've really got to like, that's his 45 minutes to an hour. Do you know what I mean? It's not about me. And I suppose it gets me out of self straight away. I've shared before on this podcast, like, I got him when I was about a year clean, and everyone said, "What are you doing? You can't even look after yourself." But he's just been amazing for me.
Recovery dog.
No, he has been, and it's some of the. I can get up most mornings in a foul fucking mood, Chris, and I'll come back from that dog walk because I've had my coffee. I've had to speak to people and say good morning to a few people and all that sort. Getting out of self constantly, and then I do my prayers. It's really taught me to pray consistently on a morning. I've shared about that before, so I genuinely think my life is on a certain path, and he was meant to come into my life.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No,
he's a good boy.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. Busy. Really busy. Sorry, I'm not. I keep rolling my nose, which is probably bad for like an ex-cocaine. I've got an itchy nose for some reason. I'm busy.
Yeah, work.
Really busy. Yeah, just everything busy. I'm doing this mentoring with these young people.
Oh, yeah, go on, tell us about that.
Oh, you know what, mate? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So, like I've mentioned before, my mate's got a few care homes, and he's got some young people, and obviously 16, 17, experimenting with drugs, some of them. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're addicts. I'm just there to let them know about the dangers, let them know about the progression of the illness, and just be like a positive male role model in these kids' lives. You know what I mean? And I've done my second session last week. These two young kids, good stuff. And I'm like, so what should I do? Like, I spoke to him. He was like, you do anything you want. You know what I mean? I've got all my DBS checks have gone through, so I'm allowed to look after these kids now. And he's basically like, take them to the gym, take them driving range, take them out for dinner, whatever you want.
Wow.
He'll cover the expenses. You know what I mean? And
what's their response to the kids?
it's been great.
Yeah.
It's been great. It was brilliant. We was in the gym the other day, and I could just tell. So there was one kid that was like on it, like listening to me.
Yeah.
And there was another kid that was just like off, like doing his own thing. So it's like straight away I see the two different personalities.
Yeah.
But they're good friends. They live in the house together. And he said to one of you, he was like, mate, he's massive. Why don't you just do what he's doing? Like talking about me, you know what I mean? So straight away I thought, all that hard work I've been putting in
for a reason
in the gym is almost like inspiration to this young kid now, because it can't be faked. You know what I mean? I showed them photos of me when I was back using, when I done my initial sit down with them. So they saw the skinny, unhealthy person I was. Now they see that I'm like, I look strong and I look healthy. It's like you was just saying, the path that we're on. It's almost like
it's all laid out, mate.
It's all laid out, and it's all happening for a reason.
Definitely.
And
I so believe that.
It's just like another little chapter. Me and my missus have set a date for our wedding.
Oh, wicked.
Not set a date we know when we're going to get married. We know where we're going to get married. We just need to lock down the venue. We're going to do it in Spain, around Marbella.
Wow.
2026.
Awesome.
The invite will be coming soon, mate.
Yeah, mate. Can't wait.
Because
that's wicked.
So we met in Marbella in 2016.
Yeah.
So it will be 10 years from when we met. We're going to get married. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wish I could have done it a bit sooner, but obviously I was in no fit state.
Yeah.
So yeah,
for a reason, mate, doesn't it?
Exactly that. So I just feel like I'm embarking on a new chapter. Work's going really well. I know I mentioned it on here before. I was quiet and I was a bit apprehensive about what's going on. Funny enough, an old friend of mine, he's taking another chance on me because I fucked that up.
Yeah.
Like the episode we're going to get into today, it's almost like a bit of an amends process. I'm now back on a job. He wanted to use me, but he couldn't because I was unreliable.
Yep.
Right? And I'm sure it was hard for him.
Yep.
Now I'm in a position, literally, I've been back there for a week, and a few of the same guys are like still running the job, and they're like, "Oh, mate, you are like a different person."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm there before they are.
Yeah.
I leave after they leave.
That's what's been shared by our last two guests, Claire and Tanner. They mentioned it, didn't they? Like all of this life, this beautiful life stuff, kids, marriages, do you know what I mean? Jobs, experiences. The fundamental thing that has to happen at the start of this journey is recovery. Isn't it?
Yeah.
We can't do anything. Recovery enables us to live life. They say life beyond your wildest dreams. And I just had a weird concept of that when I came in, like, oh, Ferrari on the drive, or do you know what I mean, a house in the Maldives. It's none of that stuff.
No.
It's none of that. It's the simple stuff.
It's the basic fundamentals. And like, I think both of them mentioned it, a bridge to normal living.
Yeah.
That's what this stuff is.
That's the key.
Exactly that. It's not like, oh, all I do now is recovery.
No.
And it's like, yeah, I'm going to fully immerse myself in this. And look, if that's what you want to do, by all means, you know what I mean? Find your own journey.
Yeah.
For me, like they both shared, a bridge to normal living.
Yeah.
I'm now able to look after my kids, provide for my family, be reliable, show up on time, work hard, go and help these kids, start a podcast with my mate, show up on time. We haven't missed an episode.
No.
Episode 25.
25.
Yes,
Here we
bro.
go.
Quarter of a century.
Oh, no.
So I heard some stats. Most podcasts fail after 3 episodes.
Yeah.
90% of them don't make it past episode 21. So we're in the top 10% already.
And I know I've mentioned it before, but honestly, the feedback we are getting is just, it brings tears to my eyes. I send the screenshots
Yeah,
over
you
to
send them over to me.
or if we get a voice note or whatever it is, like, I can't tell you guys, whoever's listening and watching out there, like, it's doing exactly what we wanted it to do. Like, I'm going to say 25 to 30 people have actually gone into recovery, got the confidence through listening to this podcast to walk into their first meeting, whatever fellowship it be in, because they've listened to our stories and the guest stories we've had on, and they've related to that, and that's enabled them to think if they can do it, we can do it.
And that's just the ones we know about.
Yeah. It's been amazing. More than I've ever expected. It's bearing in mind we only started this in February, and it's just been great, isn't it?
I've loved it.
And it's I know in my gut, Claire Darnell mentioned it, like my head is my critic and my ego, and my gut is that's where I really am. Do you know what I mean? That's the real Max in there, and my gut is just saying to me, this is what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
This is what I'm meant to be doing.
Exactly, but if someone would have asked you that 5 years ago,
No chance.
you wouldn't know. Like, these things just happen.
Yeah.
We get the fundamentals right. Yeah, good, solid step 1, 2, 3. Then we start doing a bit of work on ourselves.
Yeah.
And we let our power in our lives. Then we go out and make amends. And then we start living 10, 11, and 12. And then next chapter, you get a dog. Back in your wife's life, kids back in your life, doing well at work. And then it's like, what else? Exactly like Claire was talking about, where you reach the edge of that box and you start pushing up against the edges of it. And you're like, I need more. Expand the box a little bit more.
Yeah, but I've just found that opportunities come to me, not just business, but
Of course.
life opportunities come my way.
Yeah, they do.
People are reaching out for me for advice, or it's a natural process. I'm not looking for these things.
No.
They're coming to me.
All you did was get your recovery right, and everything else just fell into place.
But like today, like it was my little, she's 5, bless her, my Bonnie. She's just an absolute angel. I love
Yeah,
her so
she's
much.
sweet, mate.
She is.
She's sweet.
It was her graduation from, not nursery, a reception.
Okay.
So they're all gone on stage, and it's in like a lovely wall garden.
Oh, hang on, she's the same age as Theo?
Yeah, she's going up to year 1 next year.
Yeah, same as Theo.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
realise they was exactly the same age. Yeah, brilliant.
But I was present. I had to be there at 2:00, and that's for all my kids' stuff now. I never miss anything. I don't, hands up, I don't miss anything.
Yeah.
And I used to miss so much.
Or be there and still miss it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to be there, or you just
but the
couldn't.
sad
You
thing
couldn't
is,
turn
I
up.
always wanted to be there.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go to the pub after work for 1. And I would
And you miss it.
I would miss it.
Yeah.
My attic would get noisy. No, you don't need to do that. My gut would still be there, but quiet.
Yeah.
Max, you need to be there. Do you know what I mean? This is my son's graduation reception. My attic was just so fucking noisy, man. It just
And I just feel, but when you don't make it, or you go and you make it about yourself, you just feel with remorse. Like, it's just so painful, isn't it, mate?
awful.
Unfortunately, I'm in a position at the minute with work where, I had to miss sports day.
Yep.
And he does this little thing. It's called Rocksteady. It's like a little band. They do it after school, and they had their little concert. Sports day was at 10:30. Rocksteady concert was at 1:00 midweek. I had to be at work, right? And I'm thinking, I really want to do these things, but at the same time, I need to pay the bills.
Yep.
I need to make sure they're taken care of financially.
Course,
So it's
mate.
like, I really wanted to be there. But unfortunately I couldn't because of work commitments and stuff like that.
You can't do it all. My wife has to take the lead on loads of stuff, mate.
There you
So
go.
it's
What I
not-
said to it's actually a quote.
It's
a
more
quote
when I
out of
say
Entourage.
I'm going to be there, Chris. I don't miss it. I wasn't meaning that.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm
You
just
know what I
saying
mean?
it's a little bit. I wish I could, but it's like there's a quote directly out of Entourage. I just recently watched that again, where he's like, when it's scheduled for 12:00 on a Wednesday, it's just their way of saying they don't care about daddy.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
No, I get that, yeah.
come on, you know what I mean? It's like, if you made it after school, I could come, or at the weekend I could come. You know what I mean? But a little bit of regret there, but he done well. And
So you've not done the dad's race at sports day?
no, I mean, probably best I didn't show up because I would have smoked it. You know what I mean? No, I'm only joking. But he's like lead vocals in this band.
Wow.
He loves it, mate.
Wow.
He's a proper little performer.
Yeah. Is he good?
Yeah, he loves rapping.
Oh,
He
yeah, I've seen a bit of
absolutely
this,
loves rap. Did I send you it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny, mate.
Yeah.
So anyway, look, great little catch up. Oh, just quickly before we move on, we're a little bit. We're recording this on Thursday. It's
Yeah.
coming out on Monday.
Yeah.
The Euro final is on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right. So as it stands right now,
We're in
the final.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, against Espanola. We don't know what's happened right now. Come on, the boys.
Yeah, I did a little Instagram post, and every time I watch him, my whole body tenses up. It's like the most painful 90 minutes of my life.
I was sitting there last night, me and my missus. It went half time, and I was like, my shoulder was all like, I was like, babe, I think I've pulled my shoulder. I'm so tense.
I know.
Great first half performance against the Dutch.
And then the goal was just,
Yeah, shout out Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
And I've got goosebumps, look, thinking about it.
Yeah.
I love England football, right? And I think it's warranted that we're talking about it because I know it can be a tough time for a lot of people, especially if they're new into recovery. Used to going out for beers with the boys, watching the football. Yeah, and I actually know people who have relapsed at major tournaments. Yeah, people with long-term clean time and people with not so much.
Yeah.
That it's just too much. It's overwhelming. Like, they're so used to drinking beers and watching football in a pub that it's too much for them.
Fitting in stuff as well, wasn't it?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
So look, I just want to say I've watched a couple games at home. I watched one round James's. I've watched two of them at the pub, right? Because like that stuff we was talking about, I've got my recovery back. I've got a rock solid program. I can go anywhere and do anything.
You got a suit of armour on, haven't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So I watched the game. I drank a couple Diet Cokes. Everyone around me is getting a little bit more rowdy. I had a coffee, and then literally we beat the Swiss on penalties. Unbelievable turnout that was as well. Ivan Toney with a no-looker. Come on. So I literally,
Ice cold.
We all jumped up and down, sung It's Coming Home, and I was like, see you later, everybody. I'm going home. Right?
It's coming home. I'm going home.
It's coming home. I'm going home. Right? It was great. So then, now obviously we're in the final. I wish we could project into the future. You lot know, but we don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
If we win that tournament, I'll be so happy for the boys. And it's a proud moment for the nation.
I love the fact that I love the team ethics all around it. Like that, Ollie Watkins, he ain't had a kick, has he, the whole tournament?
No.
And he was called on, what was it, 70 minutes, I think, maybe? 80 minutes, wasn't it? 81st minute.
Yeah.
And he was just ready, mate.
Yeah.
Ready to rock and roll. And
Ready to go.
fair play to him.
Yeah.
I just loved his face when he scored.
He was so happy.
It was like when he scored his first goal for the under-7s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like...
It was just like when Saka, when he scored his pen, he was so happy. He got a load of racial abuse at the end of the last tournament because he missed a penalty.
It must be hard. Jeez.
Oh, the pressure.
Yeah.
But they just look so calm.
Yeah.
For a country that's got such a history of being awful in penalty shootouts, we bossed that.
58 years since the last one, the last cup. England, yeah.
So hang on a minute. So back when that song, when it was at 30 Years of Hurt,
Yes.
it's almost been another 30.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
I know.
Come on, the boys. So, yeah, look, sorry about that. I know it's not a football podcast, but we had to touch on it because it's a huge moment as a nation.
Yeah, nice, man. What are we talking about today?
So, continuing with the theme of the steps. Last one was 6 and 7. Today, I thought we'd talk about 8 and 9.
Yep.
2 huge steps. So, look, so step 1 is all about we're powerless, yeah?
Yep.
Steps 2 and 3 is about God.
Yep.
Steps 4 and 5 is about us.
Yep.
Steps 6 and 7, bit of God as well. Steps 8 and 9 is about everyone else.
Yep.
Right? They're finally letting us out of the house. Okay? And so step 8, for anyone who doesn't know, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. Right? I've pulled some literature off that I'm going to read out. So to this point, the steps have focused mostly on repairing ourselves and our relationships with a God of our understanding. Beginning with the 8th step, we bring other people into the healing process. People we harmed in our addiction, people we harmed in our recovery, people we meant to harm, people we hurt by accident, people who are no longer in our lives, and people we expect to be close to for the rest of our lives. So basically, step 8 is we need to find out who we harmed, how we harmed them, what we did. And a lot of it comes from writing a moral inventory in step 4. That's why I always say to my sponsees, I know some people are like, oh, burn your step 4 once you finish with it. I'm like, no. We need it. If you go back to the original AA literature, it says we have a list.
Yep.
And they're talking about the step 4 inventory.
Yeah.
Basically, if a person ended up on your step 4 inventory, you probably owe amends to them, because it's the nature of an addict that if people are around us, we will cause them harm. Yeah, totally. Like it said there, whether we meant to or not, right? So we need to make a list. And we need to be thorough. And a couple different types. Maybe it'll be like, maybe we harmed them in the fact that it might be financial.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Either a loan that didn't get paid back or outright theft.
Nicking stuff, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So also there's a part of it for me that is really tough. And that is if someone also owes amends to us. Right? And that was big for me.
Yeah.
I was, it says in the step 8 literature, we make a list as if there is no step 9. Right. Yeah. So step 9 is we set out to make direct amends, except when to do so with injured them or others. And I found it really tough to write the list with that in mind, because I know step 9's coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What follows 8 is 9.
Same as me.
So I was quite conscious of it. My whole psyche and mindset has completely changed now after going through this process.
Yep.
When I was doing my first step 8, I was 8 months clean.
Wow.
I was raw, right? And there was loads of people that hadn't forgiven me, that I hadn't forgiven, obviously because I hadn't been through this process.
Yeah.
And it was really, really painful. I sat on my step 8 for a long time. I sat a long time, a lot longer than other steps.
Chrissy, I've got still names on my list that I've not made an amends to.
So have I.
Yeah. But
it says it here. It's not about, right, we've done step 8, let's set out and make amends right now, right? This is a lifelong process.
And I think for me, like when I try and quit smoking, at the moment I'm fucking buying cigarettes every other week and trying to quit all the bloody time. Like, I had to show willingness. I had to show that I'm in this program. I had to show to the people that I'm due to make an amends to. Yeah, I've made amends to some people, but I needed to show, they needed proper proof that I changed as a person.
Cool.
Not 6 months, not 9 months, not even 2 years, mate.
Yeah.
I need to do so much work on myself, and sometimes it takes, for me internally, I need to be ready as well. Do you know what I mean? I need to be in that position to make those amends.
Yeah.
So for me, it has been a slow process, and I think that is definitely worth mentioning. Like, it doesn't have to be straight away. It can be over time. It can be over 10 years.
Of course it can.
Yeah.
So when I go through the work of my sponsees,
yeah,
just like my sponsor done with me, we write them down in different categories.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll get the list of names. Yeah. I'm sort of jumping onto step 9 here a little bit, but the two are connected, intertwined. You can't have one without the other. So basically, they'll write the list, just like I wrote my list, and we go through it with our sponsor. So it's like, John Smith.
Yeah.
What happened? How did you harm him?
Yeah.
What do you owe amends for, etc.? Are you willing to make that amends now? And if they say yes, we write now.
Yep.
Move on to the next person.
Yep.
My sister. What happened? This goes back. Obviously, the family are the ones that probably cop it the most. What did Nick say? The ones who are closest get it the mostest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you willing to make this amends? Yes, but I don't think they are. Okay, we put later.
Yeah.
And we go through the list, right? And there's some of them that it might just be in God's time, right? It might be someone that you hurt that doesn't live near you or lives in a different country or some harm you caused, right? Yeah. All you can do is be willing to make that amends,
of course,
right? And maybe you'll cross paths.
Definitely, yeah.
Maybe you'll cross paths.
Yeah.
So that's a great way of doing it. It's sort of like, obviously, harm is harm, but there's levels to it, right?
Was there any themes that come up for you, as in like self-reflection themes in the step 8 process when you were writing your list? Was there like a common theme, like was there a lot of theft that come up, or was there a lot of hurt, or can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, look, towards the end of my using, right, you know how I used, the listeners know how I used. It's very difficult to come up with the amount of money I needed to use the way I was using.
Yeah, totally,
right? Doing the job I was doing. You know what I mean? We've had Kent on here. When he was out, the money was never going to run out.
Yeah.
That wasn't my experience, right? So an addict well, this is my experience anyway, when the obsession comes on, if I haven't got the money, I'm getting that money, right? By any means. It says in our literature, the getting and using and finding ways and means to get more, right? And it was the ways and means that really brought me to my knees, right? And I'll be completely honest, I stole money from my parents. I stole money from my grandparents. I stole money from my brothers. One of the lowest things I did, right, and I'll share this because I've made amends for it, and shameful, I've rifled through my son's piggy bank to get money to get cocaine, right? And I got caught red-handed. My missus is like, what are you doing? And I'm like, like mortified. But at the same time, the obsession's on me. Nothing will stand in my way. Nothing will stand in my way. So towards the end of my using, yes, stealing was a big part of it.
Yeah, see, I was in the same boat as Kent. I never had any. I had
there you go.
money to.
There you go.
To burn.
And I don't know what would have happened if that was my case, because it was the ways and means and the shameful behaviour that really brought me to my knees. It was the dishonesty, the lying, the stealing, just a web of lies that I'd spun, trying to balance one person off another, or like, oh, can you give me this and I'll get you that. Once that comes in, I'll give you. It was just like too much for me. And I'm kind of grateful in a way.
How many were on your list?
A lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot. I wrote a huge list, and then when I went through it with John, my sponsor, friend of the pod, a lot of them were sort of superfluous, you know what I mean? It didn't really matter. He's like, in God's time, if you cross paths with them, say a little something. I was holding them in too much esteem, these harms, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they were just like, some people just got caught up in like the maelstrom that was my life, you know what I mean? Others,
they probably didn't.
It probably didn't even matter, you know what I mean? And there's been other people that I've tried making amends to, and they're like, "Oh, man, I didn't even fucking like, I didn't know, man, I didn't even know you was an addict."
What do they say? They're living rent free in your head.
Exactly, right? So that, I mean, even that was nice to get rid of. But look, there were some big ones. It also says you may owe amends to institutions or companies, right?
Yeah, a bit of that.
So funny enough, the first amends I made was for a company that I used to work for when I was using, and I was a nightmare. I used to lie all the time. I was incapable of being honest.
Yeah.
I was stealing materials from them to use on other jobs, showing up late. Just like, I put them on the list. And then when I set out to make the amends, I was like, you know what? Rather than making amends to my family and the ones that I was like really bothered about if they forgave me or not, I was like, why don't I start with them, right? Funny enough, I spoke to Nick on the way there, and I was like, so how do I do this? It was my first amend.
Yeah.
And he's like, you just sit down, you just say to him, look, this is a little bit weird, but like, I'm doing this thing. They knew I'd been to rehab. They knew I was, they knew I was getting clean, just because they knew some people that I knew. And I sat down with them, and I called them up and said, can I come in? And they said, yeah. I sat down with both of them, and obviously I looked different because I was about a year clean, just under a year clean, and sat down and told them what had happened.
Yeah.
And basically they were like, mate, thank you so much for coming.
Mouth so.
Yeah. No, they were like, thank you so much for coming to tell us. They was like, mate, we always liked you.
Yeah.
We was like, what is going on with this geezer? Like, they was like, we just couldn't trust you, mate. You was just off key, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you so much. You've put the pieces of the puzzle together for us. And one of the guys said to me, he was like, the way you've just come in here, it's like your big, more mature brother has come in here and sat down and spoken like a gentleman. You know what I mean? He was like, it's a credit to you, mate. And I was like, fucking hell. And it was a real moment in my recovery, I'm fucking getting goosebumps thinking about it. Real moment in my recovery where it was like, all that stuff that people told me was going to happen is starting to happen. Yeah. And they went, what are you doing Monday? Do you want to start? And they hired me again. You know what I mean? So straight away, I know I've heard some stories about people not having their amends accepted.
Yeah, I got one of them.
I have as well. We'll get onto that as well. So basically, I was like, that was brilliant. I'm now employed again. You know what I mean? It was great.
Couldn't have gone any
So
better.
my first amends experience was like a 10 out of 10.
And he got a job out of it.
A 10 out of 10. And then I took it upon myself. In my list, I left a little space under each one. I wrote down what they said to me.
Okay, right, nice.
Right? So I kept like a little journal after every amend.
Yeah.
I kept a little journal of what they said back to me. So basically, the process is I go in there and say, this is what I was doing. How did my behaviour affect you? Yeah. And they said, it affected me in this, this, and this way. And I said, okay, is there anything I sincerely apologise, but sorry's not enough.
No.
Right? Sorry's not enough. It says that in the literature. What can I do to allow you to forgive me? And they were like, you coming here is enough. He's like, if you're going to work for us, just be honest and everything's forgiven. And I was like, brilliant. So you just mentioned now about not having the amends reciprocated. How did that go for you, mate?
So I ain't going to name names, but I was really close to the guy from school. And not really close, best mates, I'd say. His old man was a policeman. He went down that road. And I was using real heavy. We used to go away to Brighton or go away to Manchester or wherever it was, big into football and all that sort of stuff. And I used to use in front of him when he was in the force, and it just weren't It weren't on. And this same guy, he could see I was going down a real bad path, and he could see the change. I obviously couldn't see it.
Of course not.
I thought it was cool. Yeah. We spoke about that word cool before, but I wasn't being my genuine self. He could see it. Even at that young age, he could see it. And many a time, he'd come and grab me from a bar, and I would be like, fucking no, I'm standing who you are, and all that sort of stuff. Cut a long story short, I didn't treat him how he should have been treated.
No.
Like, this was a mate of mine who I had a real lovely relationship with up until the age of 21, I'd say. And when I got clean, I reached out to him, and I wrote this letter, and I didn't. It was like a WhatsApp or a text message, but because I couldn't get hold of him, and he just came back with a cold response. I suppose it wasn't like a.
How clean were you at this point?
Let's say 2-3 years, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was one of them that just came. It was one of them that came to me. I just because it wasn't on my first list.
Yeah,
and I'm going through the steps again, and I'm on a step 4 at the moment, and guaranteed there's going to be more people on my step 8 when I come round to it.
100%. The list is never finished because you'll remember things that you didn't remember from before.
This is one of the guys, and maybe I didn't speak to my sponsor massively about it. Maybe I went about it in the wrong way, but it just felt right. Do you know when you get those moments where, right, I'm going to do it? And I think he said, well done on your recovery, but he wasn't. So the time wasn't right, basically. Yeah. I know that, which is a shame. Addiction has sort of ended that relationship, and I can get it from him. He didn't, he's a policeman. He can't be hanging around.
I was just thinking, you put him in a really awkward position.
Really awkward.
Because he's trying to uphold the law and cocaine's illegal. Yeah. You know what I mean? No, You're using in front of him.
No, I'm not.
Of course. I can see it from his point of view. You put him in an awkward position. But yeah, look, well done for trying to make the amends anyway.
That's what I mean about time. I think in his head, he's probably thinking, it's still not enough time. You ain't clean enough. Yeah. Come back to me. Do you know
Especially in that profession, he's seen it all.
Yeah, and it's... but yeah, then I've had other amends where it's gone beautifully, like you, and it's been a real lovely experience. Like with my wife, especially, it's more of an ongoing amends, Chris. You know what I mean? It's like
100%.
There's obviously apologies, but I just think I apologised to her so many times. I think in my head that it was action speaks louder than words, Chrissy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I suppose when we went up to Scotland and got our we on our 10-year anniversary underneath the waterfall, we took the same photo when we did 10 years before, but the kids were with us that time. We had a lovely trip, like all of that, and her seeing me change as a person. Do you know what I mean? That's it. That's
of course it is. It's a daily amends. So the definition of making amends, to do something to correct a mistake that one has made or a bad situation that one has caused, right? So if you was causing a bad situation, because I know I was for a long period of time, the amend that I make has to be over a long period of time. Yeah. So step 9, we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Don't cause more harm. Don't try and correct the harm by causing more harm, basically. So I sat down with my sponsor and went through this, for example, around my parents and my mum and my brothers, which are the ones that I caused the most harm to because they spent the most time with me. It's just how it works with addicts. It's definitely how it worked with me. And I was like, so what do I say? How much do I tell him? And he's like, well, you got to be careful because you're not trying to cause more harm, right? So I sat down with my missus. She knew what I was like. And there were some situations that I sort of had to make her aware of. For example, like I was talking about the ways and means to get more and to continue using, I bought home drug tests, gave them to my mum and dad and my missus and said, test me. And then I was cheating on the drug tests, right? I used to carry a little bottle of clean piss in my pants, right? So I'm like, well, how can they be on my back if I'm passing drug tests?
Like Lance Armstrong shit.
There you go, right? So I had, like vape juice, yeah?
Yeah.
I had a little bottle of it with piss. I'd be on a building site. Funny enough, these people I'm working for now, I'd be like, you don't do drugs. Yeah, piss in that bottle for me. Taking piss off of building sites and putting it in a little vape juice bottle, and I wore it in my pants for months.
That's fucking mental.
Just in case, because then I was like, test me.
That must have been some smelly piss.
I was very selective about who I got my piss off, right? My whole piss operation I had going on. What I'm saying is, insane behaviour, but...
Yeah, that is...
But
I didn't know that.
An addict being crafty and sneaky to allow me to use more.
No, that's a great plan for using addicts.
Right? So that sort of stuff, I told my missus, I told my mum. Because they were like, how are you passing them drug tests? And I'm like, I tried to put the pieces of the puzzle back together. Like, fucking was borderline genius. You know what I mean? Isn't it? It's just like ways and means, anything, right?
That is, that's...
There you go. So I explained that sort of stuff, right? We spoke about this earlier, actually. My dad, because I talked to my parents about this stuff. They're intrigued, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it saved their boy's life. Yeah. He knew the amends process was coming. I sat down and he went, let me stop here.
Yep.
Yeah?
Same experience I had.
Let me stop here. Yeah. He's like, I don't want to know. He went, as far as I'm concerned, you don't owe me anything financially. Yeah. Yeah? He's like, I don't want to know. He's like, what I want you to do is stay on this path you're on now.
Look after your family.
Look after your family. Yeah? Don't lie to me. Yeah. And please stay clean. And I was like, you know what? I can do that. Yeah. I can do that. So once again, that daily ongoing amends to my parents is like, that's where I lost the reservation in my program that if I lost my parents, I would use, because I wrote that down in my original step 4. And when he said that to me, it went away. Yeah. Because I'm like, if I lose them, I still owe it to him to stay clean, because it was part of my amend. Nice. Part of my amend to him. Yeah. And that's what I do on a daily basis. If my dad calls me up and he needs a favour or he needs something moved that's a bit heavy, he rings me and I'm there. And I don't miss payments to my missus, and I don't miss the bill payments. And I pick up my son if I say I'm going to pick him up. All this stuff is a part of my ongoing amends to my family. And the same with my brothers.
Isn't it great?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. This is the part of the program that integrates us back into society. Yeah, we can put right the past and move forward positively into the future. Like,
even stuff like robbing their peace of mind. You know what I mean? Like
100%, mate.
Like, where are you? Yeah. What are you up to? When you in? Like, my missus she hates me calling her my missus, so I need to stop that. My wife.
Oh, does she?
She's called me out on it. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, my wife. She used to just hate that. That was one of her one things, like not knowing where I was. Yeah. And not knowing if I was alive. Yeah. Like, if the roles were reversed, like, yeah, and she didn't come home, I'd just be so fucking worried.
They've got some serious tolerance.
Can you imagine that, though? If your wife, your
fiance,
she just didn't. She went out on the piss and didn't come back. Like, one, you'd be absolutely livid, and
then like worried sick.
No, that's what I mean. But worried, sick,
Yeah.
and not that. And I did it every week.
Yeah.
Every single week. And then,
No wonder she kicked you out.
well, no wonder she kicked me out.
Yeah. No wonder I got kicked out.
It's
You know what I
like,
mean?
so even that, going back to the amends process, like that worry's not there anymore,
No.
and it's completely flipped on its head.
So this is, you know, we say
And on
like,
that-
did you steal? It's like, well, not money,
Peace of mind.
peace of mind.
Yeah, yeah,
Constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly stealing people's peace of mind. Bad boys, weren't we?
yeah. But like we said at the start, it was my journey, and in a sick way, I'm pleased I went through those behaviours and
Yeah.
caused those harms. Maybe I would have liked to not as cause as many harms as I
Yeah,
did.
that's what I always say.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't. So,
No, look, it's been an incredible process. Like you was mentioning earlier about not having an amend reciprocated. I had a business partner, a mate of mine, like literally, he's in my little brother's year at school. I've known him since we was kids, and we used together different drug from the one that I landed on. You know what I mean? We used to smoke together, and we've known each other for forever, and we got involved in business together. It was a bad decision. He wasn't in a good place. I wasn't in a good place, but we both had we come up with a great idea, and unfortunately, it was never going to work because you can't be a daily user and we set up a successful business. It was the day-to-day running of the thing that we couldn't do, right? He blamed me. I blamed him. It got really bitter, and it sort of was unresolved. And then when I went into treatment, I come out, saw him at a wedding, and I was like, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
Obviously not today. Can we meet up? I'm into the amends process now. I want to make amends. And he's like, oh, great, right? Exchange numbers.
Yeah.
Exchange numbers. And I reached out to him, and he's like, yeah, let's do it on this day at this time. I'm like, no problem. The day comes around.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate, not today.
He bounced you.
And I'm like, okay, can we reschedule? Yeah, all right, let's do it on this day. And then it was like, can't do it today. And I was like, I'm going to stop pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of them amends where it's almost like 6 of one, half a dozen in the other.
Yeah,
But that doesn't matter.
Chrissy, that will naturally fall into place.
I know it will.
Like I know the chap I spoke about before. Our paths will cross.
Yeah.
And I'll be there for him.
Yeah.
I know it will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, this guy is still good mates with my brother. He sees him all the time. And it's almost like we've had a little back and forth. I sent him like a couple bits on Instagram. He sent me he's replied to the message. So it's not like, I know the relationship's not over. Look, it's the ball's in his court. The ball's in his court.
And time's a healer, mate.
Exactly. But like we say, right, I'm going into this process where I know he caused harm just as much as I cause harm, right? But we don't go into that process with, oh, well, I'll apologise if you apologise. Yeah. Or, yeah, I did this, but you did that as well.
Yeah.
We don't go in like that.
Yeah.
We go in with an open mind,
Yeah.
with a clear motive of I'm here to confess and ask for forgiveness for what I did to you.
Aren't these steps clever? Because like you've just rattled off what you just said, and I'm just thinking it's just littered with spiritual principles.
Of course it is.
Like you've got the honesty. Like we have to be honest when we make an amends and write our lists and think back to the people we've harmed. We have to be open-minded about their response. Do you know what I mean? And what you just said about that guy.
Humility as we walk in there.
Humility and willingness to actually want to make the amends.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And we learn those.
And forgiveness.
And forgiveness. There's loads.
Courage.
But we learn those,
Riddled.
Chrissy, whilst coming into, and that's when we tap into the service and all that. And all these little gifts and life lessons that we get taught in the rooms, he's building up to these steps, these 8 and 9. You can't walk in and do an 8 and 9 without being willing and learning how to be willing. And
I did that, didn't I? After my first meeting.
Right, okay.
Did I talk to you about that?
Mate, what was that circumstance? Who was that with?
My ex. Mate.
Well, I'm fixed.
I went to a CA meeting and
Where are we here? What year is this?
I was 27,
Oh, okay.
9 years ago.
Wow.
I went to my first meeting and I was like, wow, blew my mind.
Yeah.
Started making amends the next day. Please don't do that.
Yeah. Pal of mine
Please
did that
don't
as
do
well.
that.
Yeah.
Bad idea, right? Went around, started making amends the very next day, 24 hours clean. And then used 2 days later, and it took me...
I'm sorry for the way I treated you, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like, I'm a
heavy.
cocaine addict. Yeah, went in, mate. Like, it was outrageous. So basically, like you just said, these steps are in order for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Get clean, do 90 and 90.
Yeah. Get some
Read
service.
the basic text. Get yourself a green and gold and a sponsor.
Yeah.
Start at the beginning. By the time you get to step 8,
Yeah.
you're ready to do step 8.
Yeah.
By the time you get to step 9, you're ready to go out and start making amends.
That's it. It's a process, isn't it?
It's a process, yeah. Please don't jump the gun, because that caused me no end of pain
I love that.
and shame
Love
and
the
guilt.
fly on the wall for that one.
Mate, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal.
Chrissy, just a bit about personal growth. I've got a nice bit here. It says personal growth is understanding that making amends is not just about seeking forgiveness, but also about personal growth and fostering a clean and honest way of living. Which I think that's why we do 8 and 9, is to come out the other side and draw a line. Again, in 4 and 5, when we drew that line and moved on and we learned about ourselves in 6 and 7, 8 and 9 is drawing another line for me.
Yeah, mate, and allowing other people into the process.
Yeah.
And we can move past it. Look, most of the shame and guilt and stuff I felt, other people were involved.
Yeah.
It wasn't just me on my own,
Yeah.
isolated. It was the other people that sort of, I left like a trail of people in my wake during my addiction. Yeah. And when I had a substance to rely on, I could bury them feelings. Once I got clean, all that shame, guilt, remorse, the harms I'd done were glaringly obvious, and I had nowhere to go, right? Until we make them amends, we can't move forward. I listened to this guy, Mark Houston.
Right.
He's like a big AA guy,
Yeah.
sponsored hundreds of people, real good into literature, huge speaker. Go Google Mark Houston.
Yeah.
Brilliant talks. When he takes new sponsees on, people who have got a little bit of time, he's like, where are you with amends process? Right? Normally when you come with a new guy, you think you're going to do inventory. They want to find out a little bit about yourself, this, that, and the other. He's like, where are you with the amends process? I heard a fact or like a stat, maybe a saying. Everyone who has ever relapsed has gone out the door with unmade amends. If you don't shut the door on the past, you can't move into the future. And like, that's personal growth for me. Like, it's been some of the most beautiful experiences I've had, by whether it be ongoing, whether it be a face-to-face sit down, whether it be just reaching out to someone. There was a guy, I was horrible to him, right? When I was at school, I was absolutely horrible to this kid. Right.
Well, for no reason.
I was a little fat kid. He had abs. That's the facts of it. Well, because I've done some work on this stuff, right? And I'm thinking, why was I so horrible to that geezer? Because he was lovely. Like,
oh, really?
He was a lovely kid. And not just that, I liked his dad. He used to like co-manage my football team. Right. And I was really close with his dad. We used to get on. He was like a right nice fella. His boy, for some reason, like, I've been through this with my sponsor, and the only thing I can relate is
jealousy.
He had a great body.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and I wanted it.
It's fucking, honestly, jealousy is a big feeling for me.
There you go. Envy, right? So I was trying to get hold of him. I know he lives in Australia. He's just got his citizenship. We're in dialogue now. You know what I mean? And he come back to England, and I was I think his mum commented on something, and I was like, can I have his number?
Yeah.
Tried getting through, couldn't get through. Eventually he went back over there, and I messaged him a couple of times. I was really struggling to let it go because I couldn't move forward. And I sent him a message like, mate, really sorry about how I was when I was younger. I now know that it was just my own insecurities that I was projecting onto you. I was trying to make you feel bad to make me feel better. Truly sorry. I'm on a journey now where I'm doing a bit of work on myself. I hope you can forgive me. Right? And a little bit of time passed, and he messaged back. Right? And he said, paraphrasing, he was like, thanks for reaching out. Don't worry about it. I forgot about all that stuff a long time ago. Right? Glad to see you doing well. Next time I'm in the country, let's have a game of golf. Because he saw that I've been playing golf. And I'm like, brilliant. I'm like, well done on your future. You know what I mean? Like, well done on your getting your citizenship and moving on with your life and stuff like that. He's got a baby now. He's got a missus. I know his missus from back in the area. I like. It was such a nice feeling. Funny enough, when I was talking to my mates about what the amends process was, they was like, what about him? He's got to be on there. And I was like, fucking definitely he's on there. He's already on the list. You know what I mean? I bullied him.
Yeah.
I bullied him.
Still got a few to do because having this chat tonight is giving me the kick up the arse. I need to tick a
Me
few
too.
more. Yeah.
I've got a couple to do, mate.
Yeah.
I've got a couple to do.
Yeah.
Look, this is what I think. Between me and you now, we can get proactive. There's probably 2 or 3 people on my list that I've let stagnate a little bit. That, like I said about that guy, my ex-business partner, maybe he needs another nudge. Maybe now's the time.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows,
Because
mate?
those are the things that still gnaw away at me. Do you know what I mean? I just want to draw a line under it, Chrissy.
Yeah, they will.
Plus,
I don't like the sound of that. People who go out the door go out with, I made amends. Let's make our amends.
Yeah.
But it also follows on to, it says in there that we harm people in our recovery as well, right? Just because we're clean now doesn't mean we're perfect and we don't cause harm.
No.
Right? We cause harm for different reasons, and we were probably less aware of the harm we were causing back when we were using. Now we have no excuse. So obviously we're going to get into the next step about when we were wrong. We promptly admitted it, right? So now, on a day-to-day basis, if I cause harm, I can stop, pause,
And own it.
and say, I'm really sorry. This just happened for this reason. Is there anything I could, you know
That's
what I mean?
one of the best tools. I know we're going to talk about step 10 in detail, but it's one of the best tools I've got in my locker now, definitely. That I can see that I've been a prick. I normally have to make a phone call and get told I've been a prick. Do you know what I mean? That's my honest truth.
Yeah. Other people can see us better than we can see ourselves.
I run it past you and you're like, yeah. I can sort of see where she's coming from.
That was funny, that conversation the other day, innit, where you didn't want to do that thing. And I was like, well, you know you're going to that thing, didn't you?
I know. It was, but yeah, I can stop and own it, and it doesn't have to go on for 2, 3, 4 months, a year. Do you know what I mean? It's, but there's less and less of those now. Yeah, the harms were caused, and not as many harms are being caused now. It's,
not as many harms are being caused, and when the harm is caused,
it's not.
We can own it.
Yeah, and it's not major. It's never
No,
major.
and we can own it. And look, who's to say that we're not going to cause major harm in the future? We are in a position to own that stuff, ask for forgiveness, and just move on with our lives. I know that if I do the next indicated thing, there's not going to be much harm caused. And if there is, I've got the tools to be able to deal with it promptly.
Yeah.
Funny enough, it just reminded me of another amend that I need to make.
You need to make.
Yeah. I'm going to make that one tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
This has been great. There's a few little just pinging up in my head. You know, we should talk about this more often.
No, but it's I've got terrible memory, mate. I really have.
Mm.
That's the power of the pen. A lot of the time, when you start writing about these things, you get triggered, and that really helped me. But I can't remember what I did last week. Really,
that's the alcohol, I think.
Yeah. Cool. All right, pal.
Brilliant, mate. Look, I think that wraps up step 8 and 9. I hope that was a nice little insight into what them steps contain and what you can expect when you get onto them, or if you've done them already, maybe it's reminded you that maybe there's a couple of amends that you haven't made.
Yeah, nice.
You know what I mean? But great chatting, mate. Come on, England.
Come on, England.
Take care, guys.
Cheers.